What's up, guys? Welcome to Newswave Week in Review. It's our Saturday show where I like to go back through, take a look at the comments you leave on each Newswave and see what everyone had to say. It's a lot of fun. I like to go back through and see what everyone's saying in the comments, so it's a good time. And of course, today is Mario Day, so happy Mario Day. That's, of course, if you look at the date, and it's March 10th. It spells out Mario if you use that little one as an I. But either way, happy Mario Day. Now, if you missed it, also, I had an interview with Chris Lee, who was a representative in Hawaii who introduced the really the bills around loot boxes. People said it didn't get in their sub box or anything, so I just wanted to bring that up. It's in the card above if you wanted to check that out. I actually liked doing the interview, and it was a lot of fun, and I hope it brought some people a little bit of insight to what he's trying to accomplish with loot boxes. But for today, guys, let's get started. On Monday, we talked about Iron Galaxy asking Capcom to let them port Monster Hunter World to the Switch. On Twitter, the Iron Galaxy CEO Adam Boyes posted the request, mentioning it would be challenging but not impossible. For reference, Iron Galaxy ported Skyrim to the Switch. Mohammed says, Monster Hunter World on Switch would be awesome, but I'm not sure if it'll run good enough. Even on PS4 and Xbox One, the frame rate is unstable. That seems to be the biggest question mark about this game. How would they get it on the Switch if it's not even really that well optimized on the PS4 and the Xbox One? Even the Xbox One X and the PS4 Pro have a hard time with this game. I do think it has to do with the CPU being weaker and it's an open world game, but still, it has a hard time running on there. It doesn't get a clean 60 even on systems that are 6 teraflops with an Xbox One X. So how do people expect it to move over? Well, it's running on MT Framework, which is proven to at least be able to run on Switch well enough with Resident Evil Revelations, right? So the question is, can they move it over? They seem to be pretty familiar with the Switch, as they did a very good port of Skyrim, another open world game. So maybe they're looking at Monster Hunter World, and maybe they have some knowledge. I thought about this. Adam Boyes put that out publicly on his Twitter, and then he made some other comments below saying, oh, I'm professional, you'd be surprised, challenging but not impossible. I have a feeling maybe they've already played around with that with their dev kit on the Switch, or maybe they have a way to really move this open world game over to the Switch. I have a feeling you don't really put that out publicly for everyone to screenshot and look at unless you have some kind of confidence behind it, right? I think they know something we don't, and I feel like maybe they've played around with Monster Hunter World on the Switch to a degree, or at least something similar with MT Framework. That is what interests me. Can they really move this game over to a Tegra, a mobile chipset? I would love to see them try. So I do hope Capcom has already reached out to them and said, yeah, you know what, you want to try it? Go for it. We'll make it public if you can actually make it a competent port. How can they make it work? Well, they can turn the resolution down, of course. That seems to be the way everyone goes about doing it. Maybe like 720p and 600p. Maybe just 600p across the board. It's hard to say, but hey, let them take a shot. I'd like to see what they can do. Tuesday, we went over a sudden revival of the iQue website in China. This website is Nintendo's way to sell games and systems in China, and with the most recent design change, many are wondering if Nintendo is about to make their way into the region officially. We also talked about Sony pushing ads through onto your dashboard, even if you have the option to avoid these ads turned on. Seth Cabral says, wow, thanks for the clickbait. Oh, not removable ads. They have been doing this for about a year now. I thought the world was ending or something. You're welcome. Put455 says, China banned game outside China for a long time. iQue is to dodge the rule. This gen, China canceled the ban. Both Sony and Microsoft put game on China. It might just better on politics in China to sell game under iQue channel for Nintendo. In fact, China have more restriction on what movie to view or what game to play than other places. It might be a good idea because China government don't like a lot of politics things in most games that Nintendo don't have trouble with. Yeah, I mean, the iQue site, in general, is kind of a way that they went about getting around the ban originally by releasing plug-and-play systems under a different name with iQue, but it has now been moved to being a subsidiary of Nintendo rather than something to work as a partnership as they have changed on the website. So yeah, a lot of people see this as, okay, now that the ban has been lifted, maybe it's going to be released under the iQue name for Switch. iQue, Switch, or Nintendo iQue Switch. I feel like they might just go with iQue because it seems like the population there more than likely knows it best under there, or at least they have some recognition with that logo and that name with the plug and play and maybe other clone consoles that have been moved over. I mean, they had the 3DS already on there under the iQue 3DS. So if they're going to move the Switch into China, which it seems more and more likely that they will with what we're seeing here, I think it'll be big enough there. It's gonna be very, as people have pointed out, it would be very expensive for the population to buy. But they already import it anyway, so, I mean, just give them a reason, a chance to buy it locally and just see what happens. At this point, it's more sales than if you didn't enter at all. So who knows? Maybe they can build up a recognition there under the iQue name going forward, and then they can continue to release consoles after the Switch, after the 3DS. Who knows what happens there, right, with 3DS? But going forward, that could be a way that they can build a name for themselves in China under a subsidiary, and would actually work, I think, pretty well. Wednesday, we went over a rumor that could send the Witcher 3 protagonist, Geralt, to Soulcalibur 6. This comes after the community manager even hinted at Geralt appearing in a game outside the Witcher series later this year. Kamikase85 says, nah, Geralt is coming to Smash Bros. Oh, that would... See, this is funny because this comment was left before Smash was announced, so... Man, this would be big, right? This would be a big deal if they could do this. I'm gonna be curious if they could they put Geralt in Smash Bros? I mean, why not, right? Bayonetta's in there, Cloud is in there, Ryu's in there. There's a lot of people in Smash that you wouldn't expect to see in Smash, so... Man, he would actually fit in pretty well. I think he fits a little better into Soulcalibur just because of the way he looks and the way the Soulcalibur group has kind of that medieval look to it even. But man, that would be an interesting appearance, I would say. Could you imagine a Smash reveal and then he pops up from the Witcher series as the next guest appearance there? That would be big. And originally it was pretty clear, okay, what game could he appear in? Well, Soulcalibur is a game coming out this year that allows guest characters. Well, Smash Bros. Is another... Well, in this case, another game that has guest characters in there. They could definitely give him a moveset, put him in Smash. I think he's recognizable enough. And honestly, I think some fans would lose their mind if he shows up there. I mean, that is a big reveal. I think the only other one that could really be up there with Geralt showing up is someone like Crash. Just because he's such a, even though he's not anymore, was such a Sony mascot back in the 90s, and now he's fighting Mario in a game. So either one, I mean, honestly, bring them both. I would love to see both of them show up in Smash. Thursday, we went over a listing on LinkedIn that appears to give us a small look into what Retro Studios could be working on. The description appears to describe an open world game along with branching paths for the included storyline. Night One says, love that shirt. Anyone who thinks the customer is always right never worked in tech support. That was actually one of my favorite shirts to wear when I was working in stores where I would be repairing systems. And some customers really thought it was funny. Believe it or not, there were quite a few that were even offended by it, which is weird because it's more of a joke thing, right? It's not to be taken seriously. I'm not actually calling customers dumb, but I mean, it's pretty true, right? A lot of them didn't really know what was going on, so they most times weren't right. But, you know, you still help them and be, a good employee and a good representation of the store you're working at. I just liked that shirt because it was a good way to kind of poke fun at the situation. Sometimes it even broke the ice, to be honest, where someone would come in and they were like, oh, I don't know what to tell you or anything about this. They'd read the shirt and they'd be like, oh, okay, you get it, this is funny. So sometimes it worked. Other times, believe it or not, there was one time where it really offended a customer, and I couldn't believe it. I thought it was just a funny thing, but I came to find out that they were one of the customers that did think they were always right. So when they told me they were bringing their modem in, which was their computer, I had to play along, and then they see my shirt, and at that point, I couldn't correct them because they were offended by my shirt. If I start correcting them and telling me they brought their tower or their desktop computer in instead of their modem, well, they probably would have just lost it in the store. Mark Bryant says, as you know, it is common for developers to advertise for new staff after completing or close to completion of the project they have been working on, ready for the next project. After around 4 years or so, I would guess that Retro is wrapping up what they have been creating and are looking for staff for the next game. Yeah, Mark brings up a good point here. If you're putting something on your resume, like on LinkedIn, where you're going to be telling people, hey, I worked on this game, everything went well, you can check them for a recommendation. Usually you want to do that after you know you've done a good job, because you don't want your next possible employer to contact somebody where you didn't do a good job. If anything, you kind of want to sweep that one under the rug. So if some of these writers are putting stuff that's saying, hey, I did this and this, generally they've probably completed it to a satisfactory level and they are willing to have you, their next potential employer, call your old employer. So that definitely makes sense. And honestly, Nintendo is pretty good for the most part. I'm not gonna say every time, because Metroid is gonna be over a year since we heard about it, and Pokemon probably will be too. For the most part, they are good about telling us about something when it's just about done. I mean, take a look at the example of Smash Bros. We just saw announced. That's going to be this year. And honestly, I have a feeling Smash Bros. Is going to be coming sooner than we think. I think it's going to launch around September for that online service. Makes a lot of sense to me. But in this case, they don't want to tell us about Retro's project until it's ready for, I'd say within the next 12 months. You know, they're not going to be like Square, where they tell us about Final Fantasy VII Remake potentially 3 to 4 years before it's actually ready. So I actually am okay with that. Retro's definitely been working for quite a while now. And honestly, when they're ready, they'll tell us about it. And then what's nice is we'll be hyped from the announcement. We won't have to wait years to play it. More than likely, they're going to tell us about it within, like I said, 8 to 12 months for when it actually launches. So I'm okay with that. I'm just excited to see what a talented group at Retro Studios can come up with. Finally, on Friday, we went over the 30-minute Direct from Nintendo. While the Direct showcased several third-party games coming over to the Switch, such as Crash Bandicoot and South Park, Nintendo saved the best for last with an announcement that sent the internet into a frenzy: Super Smash Bros. In 2018. Cringelord216 says, "When I saw Smash announced yesterday, I legit fell to the floor screaming." People can say they were hyped for it, but I don't think anyone was as hyped as this guy. Lone Alchemist says, "If this Direct was good, I can't wait for E3. They need to blow our minds with something to keep up the Switch's momentum. I gotta say, I'm happy to be part of the Switch family." So their E3 is gonna be pretty packed. Smash Bros. Will more than likely be showcased there, along with, what will be clever to do, is at least a look at some of the online service features, and then save a Direct later, specifically probably a month before the online launches, with very in-depth Direct that really shows it all off. But they could definitely show us some stuff for the online service, like, oh, it's gonna have dedicated servers specifically for Smash. That is something that would definitely get most people's $20 a month. Dedicated servers, or $20 a year, I say, dedicated servers for Smash is a big deal for the competitive scene, and I have a feeling that's coming. I think Smash is going to be like their big landmark game for this online service, because people want to play Smash online, if it's good, right? And I think they're going to make it good, and I think they're going to get most people's money just for Smash, not even counting anything else. You'll also more than likely see Pokemon gameplay there as well in general, and I guess Fire Emblem at this point. It seems like they're mounting for a very good E3. Yoshi should be there. I know a lot of people don't maybe care about Yoshi. I think Yoshi looked really cool in Unreal Engine, so I'm excited to see how that runs and what it looks like. But in this case, I think E3 is going to be very stacked for Nintendo, because I think Retro is also going to be shown there. And there is a good chance that Retro is going to turn some heads and surprise some people, to be honest, with what they're probably working on with the Switch, because they've done some big things so far with Nintendo. Great gameplay mechanics with Donkey Kong, awesome environments, and really the way Metroid Prime feels when you're playing it. So they are going to make, I think, a big splash at E3. In fact, I think that is going to be the thing people talk about, not necessarily the Pokemon gameplay, not necessarily the Smash Bros. Gameplay. I think they're all going to be talking about what Retro just unveiled, and I'm so excited to see what they're working on. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for Newswave Week in Review. If you like this video, guys, hit that like button. Really helps out. You guys have been hitting the like button a lot for Newswave. It consistently gets over 1,000 likes. That does really help out, so thank you very much for that. Leave a bunch of comments down below about any of the stuff we talked about, any of the Newswave topics, whether you want to talk about Smash, the Nintendo Direct as a whole. Maybe you want to talk about Sony's ads that are showing up on the dashboard, even though you opt out of them. Seriously, anything you guys want to talk about, leave it in the comments below, and I will see you guys later on tonight for Spawncast. That's 9 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to be going through with everyone. Sean, RGT85, of course, Max, Dreamcast Guy, and then OJ, Player Essence. We'll all be talking in depth about the Nintendo Direct, Black Ops 4, and Division 2. It's going to be a lot of fun, so make sure you guys come on by and hang out with us then. I'll see you guys later tonight.